Welcome to my channel, everybody. My name's Nairi. This is Fly Little Birds. If you're interested in fostering, adoption, therapeutic parenting, you're in the right place. So today I want to come at a slightly different approach to therapeutic parenting. It's very much a buzzword. I talk about a lot on my channel about therapeutic parenting, and I've come up with a new acronym, something that you can remember that's a bit different from PACE. So PACE is excellent, so I'm not putting that down, but I've come up with a new idea for you. I'm sure it won't be famous, but you know, hopefully it'll be helpful. So the acronym is C.A.N. So that's nice and easy to remember, so C.A.N. So to remind you that you can actually do this, because sometimes it feels impossibly hard. So the first one, C, is representing the word closeness. Now if you look on my channel, you'll see lots of videos describing how important I think it is to actually physically be close to your child, and you'll be like, well, that's obvious, Nairi. It sounds obvious, but sometimes it's not. It's the simple things that aren't obvious. So if you've got a really young baby that you're adopting or fostering, you're going to have to hold them a lot of the time. You're going to be close to them a lot of the time. But even then, sometimes when we're busy, we forget the eye contact and the sound of our voice and that sort of enjoying that closeness. But as children get older, I think it's harder to actually make the time to be close to our children. And what we forget about fostered and adopted children is that they need to be physically close to us to feel safe, especially in the early days. But in my experience, because we've got two boys who are now 14 and 15, and we had them as foster children when they were 2 and 3, that's always been the case. They've always wanted to know where we are, what we're doing, and worried about lots of things. And that's because they don't feel safe. So my first bottom line is closeness. So ways of finding yourself being in the same room, ways of finding yourself having conversation from afar so that they know that you're there. When the child seems to be constantly stalking you or following you or shadowing you, obviously that can get a bit much. I do appreciate, I have one like that, and I'll tell you a bit later on. I'll give you an example later on, but sometimes that can be a bit much, and sometimes you have to say, okay, that's enough now, you know, I do need to go to the bathroom on my own, thank you. But in the most part, if you can allow that to happen even when they're older, so if you find that an older child, a teen perhaps, or an older than the average age coming to find you, so say they're 7, 8, and they're still sort of trying to work out where you are, what you're doing, so they want that physical closeness, then just let that happen. And actually what I'm finding with my children, this is what I was going to say, is that they actually want it more now than when they were younger. And sometimes I think it's that they are having some anxiety about something, or they have the realization that actually they do want to be close to you, whereas when they're younger, maybe they're too busy to try that out. So, you know, I'm actually getting lots of cuddles from older children at the moment. I'm letting that happen. Sometimes it feels a little bit odd because they are, like, one of them is being overly, shall we say, affectionate and touchy-feely and wants to be really, really close to me. So sometimes it can feel a little odd, but in my situation, there's nothing else that I need to worry about. The sexualization and that type of behavior is long gone. So this is more actual natural affection, and it feels right, it feels nice. So I'm letting that happen. And so, yeah, bottom line is find ways to be physically close, find ways to be affectionate, to let them see a look. So basically, when you look at a child, you've got to be physically close, to a hug, a touch, if they'll let you. Some children won't let that happen until they know you really, really well, and that could take many, many years. But yeah, practice it. Practice having games with them where you've got to kind of be physically close, story times, you know, you get the drift. You get the drift. I don't want to teach Granny to suck eggs, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. So that's the bottom line, closeness, the number one thing. The second thing to say is what I'm going to call anchoring. Okay, anchoring. I know that's not so easy to remember. So anchoring, in my mind then, is finding the things that are actually working and the successes, looking for the successes, because adoption, therapeutic parenting, fostering is really tough. It's really tough on your own mental health. It's tough physically. It's tough. Okay, so what can happen is you could be so busy watching videos like mine, reading, getting advice, that you're constantly looking for new answers, new approaches and ways to make things work. But what you're not looking at is what is already working. So what's the progress that you've already made? What are the things that you've done as a family that have worked? What are the techniques, the things you've said, the things you've done that you know have been a success? And I would really encourage you to look back at what that is and look at the progress you've made. And then basically, once you see what that is, anchor down on it, hunker down, anchor down on it. So I don't know how to give you an example, but if a success for you is a little trip to the shop because for whatever reason your child really likes that time with you, and they appear to be learning when they're there, learning to be in social situations, learning a bit about money, learning a bit about food, and it's a real success whenever you go shopping. I think that's very rare. If you have that, you are a rare find. But anchor down on it, yeah? So it's like, okay, that works. They love that. We get a lot out of it. Let's do more of it. Okay, so rather than look at what's not working and trying to improve all the time what you're doing, look at what's worked and anchor down on it, okay? So that's my second point. So C.A.N, and the final one is C.A., sorry, and the final one is N, nurturing. Okay, so no surprise with that word really. It's not as difficult as anchoring, is it? I think you'll remember nurturing. Nurturing, okay, this is not just about the child, this is about you as well. If you are adopting, and I say this often, you are in this for the long haul. It seems impossible to imagine now what this tiny child that's come into you, if you have a baby or a toddler or even a preschooler, is going to be, yes, an adult. And even my adult birth children still need me. So I can definitely second guess that my adopted children who are teenagers are now, when they're adults, will still need me. So this is a lifelong project, okay? So nurturing your own mental health and their mental health. You will come across lots of red herrings and curveballs that knock you off your feet, and you think, oh, that's really important, I need to sort that out. And then when you look back as they're getting older, you realise that wasn't important, that was a red herring. Nurturing their own mental health, their emotional well-being and yours is the most important thing. Education is secondary. Even to us, you know, let's be controversial. What they eat is secondary. What they wear is secondary. Their mental health, and this is what we've discovered with our boys who've got significant issues, is the bottom line, is the most important thing. So anything you can do to nurture that as they're growing up, okay? So that we're not talking about therapeutic parenting now. We're not talking about, you know, any buzzwords. We're talking about just allowing them to be themselves and nurture that, and allowing you to be yourself and nurture that, and allowing that nurturing to kind of coexist together between what you do for the child and what you do for you, because you are in it for the long haul. So I hope that gives you a little bit of food for thought. Okay, so look back on my other videos about pace. I explain it in great detail. I'm a great advocate for it, but I also point out to you that it's not the only way of parenting. Okay, so I'm just giving you a little bit of a kind of secondary idea about therapeutic parenting, and I hope that you can use it. Okay, so closeness, anchoring, nurturing. See how it goes for you. Let me know in the comments if you can try some of those things out. You know, maybe I make another video on giving you real solid examples of those things. Maybe that would be a good idea as well if this video does well. So I'll see you soon on Fly Little Birds. Thank you.